My
Great.
my favorites, and I know everyone's different, but
Yeah.
yeah, this goes to show that everybody has a lot. There's a lot of good songs that he makes that everybody loves.
Yeah.
And my top number one is Human Touch. My second favorite one is Tougher Than the Rest. And my third favorite one is Brilliant Disguise. And then my fourth has to be The Live, Racing in the Street. And then my
Yeah.
fifth is Tunnel of Love.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Set Lusting Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. I am your host, Jesse Jackson. Joining me tonight is someone who is one of my favorite online people. While I was disappointed that I wasn't going to see Bruce when he had to cancel his Columbus show, I was even more devastated, I think, that I was not going to get to meet Jaclyn in person and share a hug. Jaclyn, welcome back to Set Listing, Bruce.
Thank you for having me. It's always wonderful to be here.
Yeah, this is the second or third time we've had Jaclyn. She was part of our big Best Springsteen Song Roundtable. She is a writer, a publisher. You help other people make their dreams come true, don't you?
I do. I just finished publishing another book for somebody and it went to number one bestseller on the day of its publishing date. So, yeah, I guess you could say I do that.
Very nice.
I
Good.
know. I'm
Well,
so happy for her.
that is great. You and I should talk. I have an idea for a book.
Oh,
So we'll
okay.
visit. All right. Tell us a little about yourself for those of you who did not hear the earlier podcast.
Okay, so I'm originally from Austin, Texas. My name is Jaclyn Johnston. I'm a number one bestselling author and publisher. I own Manifest It Publishing. I also do freelance media articles, and I have a podcast called Manifest It, and I interview some people in Hollywood. I am a writer. I do all kinds of things. I
Yes.
also work in finance, which is so funny, but yeah, a writer and in finance, like how does that work? But it's true.
When we were here last time, I had you as a podcast host and a writer. And it wasn't till like halfway that we realized, oh no, Jesse, I'm a huge Springsteen fan. So a lot of the questions I usually ask a Springsteen fan, I didn't ask you because we were in another area. I want to talk to you a couple of new things you've got going on, catch up. But I did want to ask, and I don't, for the record, can you remember when you first discovered Bruce and what about his music spoke to you?
I was around 12, maybe a little, no, it had to have been a little bit younger than 12, so maybe 10. And my mom's side of the family is from Hackensack, New Jersey. I'm the only one from Texas.
Okay.
um, So she always liked Bruce Springsteen. Now, I love him way more than she does. Now, she did boast, I was 10th row in the to Run tour. It was like right around my birthday, and he sang the holiday songs, and because her birthday's in December. And just growing up, I was like, man, that is so cool. Just I would steal her CDs and tapes, and I would listen to them when I was home alone, and she'd be at work and it's summertime, school's out. So that's when I really got into him, because I got to listen to not only the beats, but the lyrics. And then I got to read some of the lyrics. And that's when I really started to like him, other than just, oh, mom's playing Springsteen in the car again or on the radio in the house or whatever. That's when that started. Of course, when he pulled me up on stage 9 years ago, I called my mom after the concert and said, Mom, you won't believe what happened. And of course, it's 11:30 at night, and I'm glad I didn't wake her. And I told her, he pulled me up on stage, and she said, no, he didn't. And I was like, yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was at that show. It was the free show for the NCAA tournament. And yes, you were one of the people he pulled up. Bunch of kids too, but it was really you. He wanted you
Well,
to
he
dance.
danced with me, yeah, and
Yes.
then with the kids, he did the selfie thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's his one of his
Yeah.
yeah. That is awesome. You are very active on social media. I feel like you are one of the people that are trying to raise the
Consciousness.
yes, and raise the positivity on social media, specifically Twitter, aka X. And I just want to talk to me a little bit about that. Why I think it's important too, but I know you do too, but share with me why you think why you're doing this.
I am an empathetic person. I'm very sensitive, and I'm an only child. Growing up, I was always around adults, and I could never really connect with my peers. Everybody was nice to me, don't get me wrong. I just didn't I just didn't feel like I was born in the right decade. So all my life, I have felt a bit misunderstood and feel like I need to go back to my home planet, which is Uranus, because I am like ahead of my time. I'm always thinking forward, future, technology. I just love individualism and originality, and I'm always thinking outside the box. And so I love science. My whole life loved science. And so I always loved writing, and I was too scared to publish a book because I feared what people would think of it. And then I finally gathered the courage to do it in my 30s. I'm 40 now. And I didn't realize that by me just trying to uplift other people who also feel misunderstood and who also feel like maybe they're alone in their thoughts and their feelings or among society. Because I'm not married. I've never been married. I've never had kids. I don't want kids. I am not the conventional woman, I guess is a way you could put it. I just wanted to uplift people and connect, and I thought books are a great way to connect with people. I had a blog for a long time, which I still have it, but I narrowed it down to a few different things. But I didn't realize my book would go to number one bestseller within that year, and it basically birthed this whole brand that I started, which is called Manifest It. And I combine psychology with physics through the use of writing. Because for me, when I write it down, it manifests so much faster. And so I combine cognitive behavioral training through psychology and the physical laws of attraction, how the actual universe is made up. I worked with physicists for like 7 years. So it was like an experiment that I did, and it worked out, and it worked for so many people. And so I've just kept going since 2017, and I've published more books, and now I'm publishing books for other people. And I just feel so good to help others not only raise their conscious levels about what is real, what is truth, what is accepted, because it's really all subjective, and that can go into a philosophical area as well. But I just really wanted to help other people, and the best way I know how to do that is to provide a service, because for years I would help people and then I would get taken advantage of. And so now I'm just really harnessing myself and embracing who I am at my core. And so it it feels really good to provide services to people to get them out of their limits, raise them in their own goals, not only just for books, but even their professions. Like the one I just published, she's an award-winning actress, and she wanted to write a book, and she's never done one before. It's just leveling you up in life, because life is just too short.
Do what do you are there common things you see that, and I don't want to use the word self-sabotage, but are there common things that obstacles people place in front of themselves to be successful?
Yes, and a lot of times we do it subconsciously and not so much consciously.
Right.
And that's where that cognitive behavioral comes in. And just like when you learn to ride a bike, learn to when you get a new phone and you're trying to learn all the places of the apps and everything, even when you go to a new job and you're learning the new skills, everything takes time when it comes to changing your beliefs, because a thought is only a thought. We have millions of them a day. It's what we choose to focus on that expands. And the focus is generally subconsciously led by our beliefs that we have formulated from growing up in society. And so it's not something that happens overnight, but if you're consistent with it, you are learning to ride a bike or play an instrument, whatever, you pick it up and then you start to accept it as second nature. And then before you, your brain's on autopilot with this learned skill that you are accepting as true or real.
Very nice. I very well explained and good stuff. Let's talk about you've done a fair amount of polls on Twitter. So let's talk about you said you wanted to make those connections. So talk a little bit about that and let's maybe go through some of the results and things we could share.
Yeah, so I got inspired by your podcasts of the group discussions of the best ofs with Springsteen's music. And so I created a poll, and really it was more curiosity for me, but also it was a great way to connect with people that I didn't even know on Twitter who are also Springsteen fans. So hopefully when Springsteen comes in April to Columbus here, and this time it sticks because maybe third time's the charm.
Yes.
Hopefully I will go, oh yeah, you're from Twitter, I recognize your face, or something like that. So yeah, so I created this poll, and I circulated it for about maybe a month just to try and get good traction, and we did get several hundred responses. So I'm excited to share these results with you. The poll that I actually created, I had different categories. Um, I had what's your favorite song? What's your favorite studio album? What's your favorite collections album? There's all these different categories, and so we'll go through each one, and I will share with you the results of the poll for the top three of
That
each
sounds
category.
perfect. Let's do it. All right. Where do you want to start?
Okay, so the first column is, let's see, I have my little Excel. I did this through Google Forms, by the way. um,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, so the first one is what's your favorite song? And the overwhelming majority
Mhm.
picked Thunder Road as the number one. Yeah.
You know, what I think is interesting is I think no one's going to argue with that. And I think just to remind people, when Jaclyn and everyone else joined, we did it through we did it like through a tournament style where one song against another, and Racing in the Streets ended up winning, which we were all a little bit surprised, but it was just due to matchups. And I still hear you, this is so hard. Because we would
Very well.
be against two, talk about the Sophie's Choice as a cliche, but we would have two amazing songs. Like, how can we pick one or the other? So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I at Thunder Road, I
To
absolutely go ahead.
I was going to say, to give you an idea of how many people actually voted, I have over 425.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's by a landslide, Thunder Road being number one. Number two, which Jesse may not like so much, and I'm with Jesse on this one. I'm sorry, guys. It's not my most favorite song, but Jungle Land is number two.
It's always funny when a guest talks about, "Oh, when I got to hear Jungle Land," I go, "Oh, that's nice for you." Yes, I am. That's Thank you for saying that. I think you're doing just because you're kind, so
Oh,
that I'm not alone on that hill.
no, I'm not joking, Jesse. I listen to Springsteen in the car all the time, every single day, wherever I'm going. And I listen to Jungle Land about 2% of the time. And it always has to be the live version. And Clarence was my most favorite. And I love
Yeah,
Nils. Nils is my favorite too. But
yeah.
I I love the part where Clarence plays, but the rest of the song, I'm okay.
I recently said that I wonder if I would like it more as an instrumental because the piano is amazing and all the things, and then the saxophone. Yeah, so this always shocks people that what? So yes, so good for Jungle Land getting number two.
Yeah. And then the number 3 top favorite Springsteen song is Badlands.
Little surprise, Born to Run didn't make the top three, but yeah, I acknowledge that Jungle Land is a great song. So I'm not going to say it just doesn't personally appeal to me. But yeah, and Badlands, I think everyone loves. So wow, cool. Very nice.
Yeah, and surprisingly, because we were just talking about this song, Racing in the Street was number 4.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know why Born to Run isn't showing up here at the top. The it didn't crack the top 3. I don't know why.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you happen to know how many different, I don't know if you counted how many different people, how many different favorite songs you got?
Yes, so the unique values, which would be
Yeah.
the words, there's 131 different favorite songs. Yeah.
I love that because I would have picked Better Days or Land of Hope and Dreams as my choice. So I love that it is right that there's that many choices. Oh,
Yeah.
that is great.
My favorites, and I know everyone's different, but
Yeah,
yeah, this goes to show that everybody has there's a lot of good songs that he makes that everybody loves.
yeah,
And my top number 1 is Human Touch. My second favorite one is Tougher Than the Rest. And my third favorite one is Brilliant Disguise. And then my fourth has to be the live Racing in the Street. And then my
yeah.
fifth is Tunnel of Love. But Dark. Oh, we'll get on to the albums later, so
Okay.
I won't go into
Yeah.
that.
All right. So that is great. I love that. All right. What was the next poll you asked?
Oh, that's where good segue, Jaclyn, because that's where we're going. Favorite
Yay.
studio album.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, this will be interesting. And I'm looking at these for the first time live with you, by the way. I didn't want to spoil the fun. Okay, so
That's
I'm
perfect.
in agreement with, yeah, I think it's more fun that way. I'm in agreement with the top number 1 studio album, which is Darkness on the Edge of Town. What do you think? Thoughts?
Yeah, it is not my personal favorite. It is hard for me to pick a favorite. I think Tunnel of Love would certainly be up there for me. It is hard not to Wrecking Ball is my wife's favorite one. And boy, Letter to You just has such a special place in my heart because of the COVID and the unexpected and how good it is and everything. But you can't argue with Darkness. Darkness is, to many people, and I disagree with this strongly, that the Darkness tour was the ultimate tour, that the band never was better than it was during the Darkness tour. I think that's really giving the band short shift, that
Yeah,
a band that is now playing in 2023 never got better after
agreed.
78. I think that's a little foolish, but I think that's also a little bit of nostalgia in the idea of that. Darkness, okay. And many people
Well,
on the show, and you've talked about like Darkness is one of your favorite albums, isn't it?
it's my most favorite album, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's hard to get people to change. You get set in your opinion, and it's just hard to change. But in this one, I'm in agreement with the. Now it's not a landslide of
Okay.
being in the top number 1 spot. It's very close, within 10. 10 votes. Number 2 is Born to Run.
Yeah, I would not surprise that you would go Darkness or Born to Run. That's the discussion back and forth. Okay, got that. All right, good.
Yeah.
I do think it's
Um,
funny that his albums from the 70s, a lot of people vote that. And okay, go ahead. What's next?
yeah, and then this one that for number 3, it was a very close tie. I shouldn't say tie, it was within 6 votes. But the top third is The River, and the top fourth is Tunnel of Love. So it was very close, very close.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to disagree with that. Though, like I said, I love Letter to You. I think there's people with Magic. I know there's people that Rising is their favorite album. What was the unique one on this one?
It's the studio albums, so they only could choose from those rather than putting in their
Yeah.
own opinion.
Was
So,
there is there any album that didn't get a vote?
ooh, that's a good question.
So I was thinking not many people think of Working on a Dream as one of their favorite albums, but it would be cool if someone did to give it a little love.
Yeah. I don't know. It just shows me that the least favorites with 1 vote each
Okay.
was Lucky Town, Ghost of Tom Joad, and Seeger Sessions.
Okay. All right. That's I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite is obviously Darkness, but Tunnel of Love is my second favorite
Yeah.
balance.
That's great. Yeah, I if I had to rank, which I've done sometimes, like you rank their studio albums, I usually do Ghost and Seeger Sessions toward the bottom, just because it's just, and I know a lot of people love the Seeger Sessions. I know other people that love Ghost, and this is a safe space. Everyone has their choices that they
Yeah.
love. All right, very nice. All right,
Yeah.
okay, what do we got next?
I'll be honest with you, I don't listen to the Seeger Sessions. It's one I just, yeah, don't pick
I
up
get
on.
you. Yeah,
But
sure.
yeah. Okay, so the next category is, what is your favorite song that the band has covered of other bands? So
Ooh,
this would be like live stuff.
okay,
Although I didn't say specifically live, I just said that the E Street Band covers of other bands.
sure.
And yeah, because I really wanted to know. And this one was a free form one, so you had to type in the song. There were 118 unique answers.
Okay.
And by a landslide, Trapped is the number one. I totally agree.
Yeah, I know. See, Trapped is not anything that I particularly care about, but yes, it is a song that people it was one of the things I thought was interesting is the guys on None But the Brave podcast were talking about the new set list and how and they were like, "Oh, but we got Trapped," and talking about, "Oh, this was a great thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." To Trap to me is just another cover song, as we talked about in our best cover song that we did. But yeah, so
Yeah,
very
I
cool.
and I'll be honest, I was a little surprised that Chimes of Freedom wasn't in the top 5. It didn't make it in the I love Chimes of Freedom. That's probably my second favorite cover, but Trapped for sure by a landslide for me.
Okay, good. All right.
Um,
So
so the
yes.
second and the third, they were within 4 votes of each other.
Wow.
Yeah, so the second one is Jersey Girl, and the third one is Detroit Medley.
Yeah, I got Detroit Medley for the first time this tour, so it was very fun to see that live. And yeah, I've gotten Jersey Girl once. I absolutely adore that. It is the most Bruce Springsteen cover that he can do, right? That it feels like one of his songs, even though it's not. That's great.
Where's the
Oh,
war song though? War, what's it good for?
yeah, that would be a
That one
fun
is a
one to see.
rockin' yeah, that one is a rockin' song. I was gonna say a bad A song, but I don't know if we can curse.
Yeah, no, you could say badass. You can do it.
Okay, that
Go
is
for
a
it.
badass song.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
when I was watching Seinfeld reruns over the weekend, like, it was the episode where Elaine was talking about she works for a publishing company, and she was talking about how the guy's book was gonna be like War, What Is It Good For? Instead of War and Peace. Anyway, sorry,
I
I
love
watched
that.
too much Seinfeld.
No, that there's no such thing. I also think it's interesting I would vote most surprising cover was at the concert you and I both were when he opened with Jump, right?
Oh,
Because we were like,
yeah.
what? That was just amazing to hear the band do Van Halen. And then when he was Australia, when they did Staying Alive, I thought that was
Mhm.
great. And then I think the most emotional was when he did Purple Rain
Purple
after
Rain.
Prince died.
You
Yeah.
totally read my mind because I was like, the emotional one was Purple Rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good.
Yeah. There was one that almost made it to tie with Detroit Medley, and that was Drift Away, which I also do that version that he
Oh, yeah,
does.
that is a great
Mm,
version. Yeah,
yeah.
that I had not thought of that, but now that you mention it, I absolutely love that version. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
The next category I have here is what's your favorite live album? So this one is another landslide home run response. And the number one is Live in 1975 to 85.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's almost unfair because it's 4 albums and there was so much anticipation for that coming out. I
Mhm.
remember that there was displays of it, and I remember going to the record store and there it was when I couldn't wait to pick this up. I just could not wait to buy. It was the most money I'd ever spent on a release in my life. And so yeah, I think when often people say, "Oh, you can only bring one album to a desert island." Oh, I'm going to pick Live 75 to 85 and cheat because I get 4 albums. So yeah. Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
but yeah.
I was gonna say I really do love that album. It's my second favorite, but it's not my first. My
Yeah.
first is actually to so again, this might show my age a little bit, but my first favorite live album is MTV Plugged because he said, "I'm not doing this unplugged. Hell no, we're plugging this baby in." And he does a really good job throughout the whole concert, keeping that energy up and going. And I just love like really rocking music. That one's my first favorite, but I would say the live 75 to 85 is definitely number two. Very close.
No, I think that's a great choice because a lot of people would call it heresy because it's the other band.
Right.
But those are songs that we don't often get to hear live. Better Days and
Yeah.
Living Proof. Yeah, Man's Job.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Light of Day. Light of Day is my favorite on there, other than
yeah,
Human Touch.
yeah. And I do run that CD. I keep it on the rotation fairly often where I do. So yeah, I agree. That's a fun group. And I was talking to my son Chris. He watched the Little Steven 60-minute interview with me.
Oh,
And
cool.
he wanted to watch it because he loves The Sopranos, right? And also he's gone to a couple of Bruce shows with me and he's become a Bruce fan. And he said he understood that Little Steven left the band, but he had not really connected that Bruce had fired the band. And he's, what? How do you do that? And I said, yeah, supposedly he gave everyone $1 million severance. And there's a lot of stories about that. Yeah, he says, okay,
Yeah.
that I guess getting $1 million takes the sting out a little bit, but when your boyfriend tells you, I don't want you anymore, like, what the hell
Yeah.
happened? And I think everyone who has had a relationship ends understands that. What do you mean? One of my favorite stories is in Clarence's book, Tall Tales and he tells the story that he was with Ringo Starr when he got the call that they were breaking up the band. And if anyone can understand a band breaking up, it's Ringo Starr. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that was
right.
great. Um, and
All right.
yeah, so good.
Yeah,
All right.
and yeah, obviously we all love the E Street Band, like we're
Yeah, sure.
dedicated. Yeah, I just love that album because it's just so high energy and like you said, we get to hear songs that we don't normally get to hear live.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the third album, oh sorry, we're on the second one now, right?
yeah,
Second
yeah. So
favorite?
you,
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So the second favorite is Live in New York City.
yeah, yeah. That was during the reunion tour. They had the HBO
Yep.
special, so that makes a
Mhm.
lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Third is one that I definitely like a lot is the Hammersmith.
yeah,
Again, that high energy. Yeah.
yeah. I would think that would be one that a lot of people would appreciate and love. I guess plugged. Um, Hyde Park is another fun DVD. I love that Blu-ray. That's a fun seeing the
Mhm,
modern
mhm.
era of the band. That's a lot of fun. And then Seeger Sessions, the live in Dublin. If I'm going to listen to the Seeger Sessions, I do it with through the live show. I love that energy of the live band. But yeah. Am I forgetting any other live ones?
Broadway. That made
Right.
it in the top 5.
Yeah. I wonder if it didn't make the top 3 because not as many people got to go? Or do
Probably.
they not think of that as a live Springsteen band, as it's a totally different thing?
Well, the Live in New York City was a HBO session. Broadway
Yeah,
is also on, I think, Netflix. Is it
yeah,
Netflix or HBO? I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah, it's on Netflix, yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's because a lot of people didn't get to go to it, so that
yeah,
I feel like that could be the reason, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's absolutely it. Okay, good. What's next, Jaclyn? This has all been great.
That's fun. Okay, so the next category is what is your favorite collections album?
Mm.
Yes. Let me
Now, when you say collections, what are you thinking of? Are this like the box sets?
mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. Okay.
yeah, like the greatest hits, the tracks, the essentials, yeah, all the collection. The Promise is on this list as a
Okay.
one to vote. Yeah, that those kinds of things.
Okay. Make
Yeah, so this one would knocked it right out of the park. We got another home run here. And this one for top favorite is tracks with the 66 songs.
yeah.
Not surprised. Not
Yeah,
surprised at all.
yeah, I was a casual fan at the time. I was not This was before I certainly was aware of Bruce and would have called myself a fan, but I wasn't a super fan. That happened after the Rising and seeing him live in 2000. I kind of discovered tracks after the fact as I'm now going back and trying to pick up everything that I'd missed. And a few years ago, I was going through, I had different guests join me and we discussed all his albums. We tried to. I had a different guest cover each albums, and then I had Tracks Week where I had 4 different guests discuss each 4 things of tracks. And there is so many good songs on tracks. That's once again that kind of feels like the box set live. It's almost like cheating. Like it is a professional team playing against a high school team. It's just matched.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my choice too. But it
Yeah.
seems like the overwhelming majority has chosen this one. The second one is The Promise.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, loving those 2 CDs, right? There's a couple of my favorite songs on there. Ain't Good Enough is one that I would have loved to seen live. They're having an actual official release of The Promise was cool. And I remember little Steven talking about that this turned out to be more of an album than they thought it would be, right? This collection of
Mhm.
songs, and they actually felt like it wasn't tracks absolutely feels like just a collection of outtakes and songs that didn't make it, but The Promise felt more like a
An actual
double
album.
album. Yeah, that
Yeah,
they had
yeah,
built together. Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, I love that album, so I don't disagree with this.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I just never think about the collections that much in ranking them, but
Yeah.
I can get on board with this for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, and so the third one is the Essential Bruce Springsteen one. That
Yeah,
one's
which is nice. That is a for someone who wants to start, that's not a bad thing. Yeah.
yeah, I was hoping the Ties That Bind would go up a little bit more, but it made the top 5. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess for someone who's new, the Essential is probably a safe bet.
Yeah. Though I love Meet Me in the City, and so I was able to hear it live, and that is a great song.
Yeah.
So cool. Good. All right.
All
All
right.
right.
So then the next column is that's it.
Okay. That was
That's all of it.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. I like that. So if you decide to do another round, have you thought about other questions you could ask?
Yeah. I thought about doing a poll where I go through each studio album and make people pick the best song from each album.
Yeah.
And then I thought about doing that for the live albums as well.
Yeah, I think that would be
Maybe
fun.
maybe even collection ones, but that's hard because there's
Yeah.
so many songs and the Google form
Yeah.
can only take so much.
Yeah,
But
there is a podcast on this Pantheon network I think there can only be one, but the premise is they pick an artist and you go through their albums and you can only pick one song from each album.
yeah.
And so do you pick Born to Run, Thunder Road, Racing in the Street? Right? It
Mhm.
is, that's tough to pick sometimes. Picking only one from Tunnel of Love would be hard for me right away.
This
Like,
is so hard.
yes, exactly. Yeah, I would be thinking like tougher than the rest, but wait a minute, all that heaven will allow, one step up. Oh, that
Oh,
just
one step up and Two Faces. Oh,
yeah, that would be almost impossible. So yeah,
yeah.
that's great. So what's next for you creatively, Jaclyn? Are you working on a new book?
I'm not working on a new book. I have it up here in my mind. I
Okay.
know what I want to do. It's a matter of making time to get it typed out and get it put together. It is going to be a book that I am drawing inspiration really and truly from Springsteen.
Okay.
It's it's going to be about because I'm not a songwriter, but I want to create a book of reflections on life. And yeah, I got the inspiration from him because all of his songs are basically reflections of other people's lives.
Sure.
And yeah, and so I want to do it and add my spin of perspective is everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a neutral standpoint to it because again, I feel like everybody's allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. But yeah, so I have it all in my head how I want it to be formatted as the pages go, but I just haven't had time to get it on paper yet because that's the whole thing about my books is I challenge your perspective and your beliefs. And so I feel like instead of focusing on writing, this book would be just pure reading and maybe reflecting mentally if you don't want to reflect through writing because not everybody likes to write. Yeah, so that's what I have cooking. I just started a project, setting up a project for someone to um I'm a big lover of like true crime and there's a friend of mine who said, I would really love to do a podcast about missing children because nobody ever talks about that. They talk
Sure.
about missing people. And I said, you know what? I don't know any podcasts. So I spent the last month putting all of that together. So it's officially together. We just have to get the first episode going now. And that's what I'm doing right now and publishing books for people. What
Mm-hmm.
about you? What's up? What's new with you?
So I am planning to continue Set Lusting Bruce. I've got some fun episodes coming up. I recorded one that won't be out till January. This is my weekly mixtape, which I think people are really going to enjoy. The premise is Brian has a guest and they pick an artist and the old school cassette mixtape where there's 10 songs on the first side, 10 sides on the next. And the premise is the guest picks the first song on side one, then Brian by Brian. Then you flip the tape over, and then Brian picks the first song, go, and you end up with 10 songs that each of you picked. But the
Mm.
idea is that you want it to flow. In other words, you
Mhm.
can't just blindly pick, oh, I want this song to be next because it may not match the song they were. And so we ended up doing that. I think we came up with a pretty good 20 list. There are some surprising misses that
Mm.
I would have swore would have made a list that I was making, and some nice surprises. And for those who care, Trap did make it. So
Oh,
he picked Trapped. Yes. Yeah. That and going to continue doing this offline. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about an idea I have for a possible book and we'll workshop that. But trying to just hang in there and do well and try
that's
to
good.
shine a little light on the world,
Yes,
right?
especially now it's the holiday season. This is the best time to really plan your goals for the next year so you can take steady action.
Absolutely. Very
Yeah.
nice. If someone wants to reach you, what's the best way, Jaclyn?
The best way where like everything is located is on my website. It's themanifestit.com. So manifest IT one word, but themanifestit.com. And everything's there. You can email me. It'll send me the email. That's the best way because I don't really check messages on social media. It's no offense. I just can't
Yeah,
get to everybody.
sure.
So I
No.
always tell everyone, yeah, just send me an email and I'll definitely see it.
Okay, good. Good. Very nice. This was such a joy. I am so happy that we got to spend time together. I love interacting with you. You and I get to exchange emails fairly often and we talk on social media. And when you're ready to launch the True Crime podcast, let me know and we'll have you on and you and your co-host and we'll promote it, okay?
Oh, thank you so much. That yeah, because we're not trying to make money off of it. We just want to bring awareness to
Sure.
try and help find missing children. So that would be awesome. And you're my favorite Gemini in the whole world. You know that, Jesse.
Yes, I do. Thank you. I feel the loving burden of I got to make things better for Geminis because sometimes you've had a bad experience with Gemini. So I'm always glad that I can try to make it a little better.
Yeah.
Listeners, go check out the website, check out her books, go check out her publishing company. It is just truly in the spirit of lighting a candle instead of cursing the darkness. That's what Jaclyn does. And I am so glad she's in my life. And I've got to figure out, I'm starting a new day gig, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be off to go. I don't know what shows I'm going to be able to work at, but if there's
Mm.
any way possible, I'm going to Columbus so I can hug you. So,
Yeah, me and Rachel, we would just
yes,
love
Rachel
to
too.
see it.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, be safe, be kind, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.